Yo, what's going on, guys? How you doing tonight? Checking in with everybody, checking in. Oh, we got a lot to talk about. Get yourselves in here, get cozy, grab yourself something to drink, get your favorite cigar ready. Got a little bit of information for you tonight. So they did pass the looks like the verbiage for the new border policy, excuse me. So I got a little information on that. We're going to talk about that and of course the conflicts that are going on around the world. As if there isn't enough going on right now, right? They just had to do it. America just had to send the rockets. I understand the response and I get the response behind it. We're just hearing different reports from different countries and agencies stating that uh, none of the targets had anything to do with the Irani Guard. A lot of it was just proxy groups, basically. Um, some people make the joke that they gave them 5 days in advance to clear out before anything happened. So could be a miss, could be a hit. We're all getting the same information. We're all doing the same kind of digging right now. All right. All right. Now, in recent news, we do have a $118 billion national security supplemental package. All right. It was just passed, I want to say either today or yesterday, in those wee hours, as they always like to pass bills. All right. Turn my gain down a little bit. All right. So I'm gonna read some stuff out to you. I want you guys to listen, okay? Now we're gonna talk about some wasteful spending. I'm not saying it's all wasteful, but listen to these numbers, okay? 60.60 billion to support Ukraine as it fights against Putin's bloody invasion and protects its people and sovereignty. So you're hearing it right here. We just gave Ukraine 60 billion on top of the 50 billion euros they just got last week. So there we're looking at somewhere upwards of around to about 109 to about 111 billion dollars. Around that in the exchange with the rate of the dollar to the euro. All right. 14.1 billion in security assistance for Israel. You're hearing it here tonight. 14 billion more to the security assistance of Israel. Okay. 2.4 billion to support operations in the US Central Command and address combat expenditures included related to conflict in Red Sea. So, self-explanatory again. 2.4 billion to support the operations of the US CENTCOM and address the combat expenditures related to the conflict in the Red Sea, which has everything to do with the Yemen and the Houthi rebels. Okay. Now, we're not done. All right. Hold on. 10 billion in humanitarian assistance to provide food, water, shelter, medical care, and other essential services to civilians in Gaza and the West Bank, Ukraine, and other populations caught in conflict zones across the globe. So, what does that mean? We just basically allocated 10 billion for anyone in a conflict zone, and I mean, you can pretty much throw that up. You got Pakistan, Iran. Well, they probably wouldn't help Iran. Pakistan, we'll say parts of Africa, definitely Ukraine, soon to be Europe and the UK. Definitely going to be Taiwan, and more than likely any small entity caught in the middle of that. All right, not finished. 4.83 billion to support key regional partners in the Indo-Pacific and deter aggression by the Chinese government. We just mentioned Taiwan. And again, remember, North Korea has already started shelling that island that's in between them and South Korea. And South Korea has already started shelling that same island. And Kim Jong Un or his sister, whichever one's in actual control, is actually out here sending, I guess, test missiles into the sea, just kind of messing around with the military while a whole exercise is going on. All right. So there's a lot of pettiness going on right now. I'm not done. Not done. All right. Here's another one. It says 2.3 billion to continue support for Ukrainians displaced by Putin's war of aggression and other refugees fleeing persecution. So now we talk about the border, a little bit of a different border situation, but we're talking about Whole other situation with everyone else's migrants problem. All right. So they're getting an additional 2.3 billion on top of the 60 they just got, on top of the 50 billion euros they just got handed. All right. So again, yeah, we're being hosed. Bipartisan border policy changes negotiated by Senator Chris Murray, Democrat, Connecticut, Kristen Sinema, Independent, Arizona, and James Langford, Republican, Oklahoma. Excuse me. So there was a bipartisan border policy change negotiated between these three people in hopes of finding a middle ground to our border problem right now in America, or whatever you want to call it, border problem, psyop, BS, propaganda, whatever. All right. 20.23 billion to address existing operational needs and expand capabilities at our nation's borders, resource the new border policies included in the package, and help stop the flow of fentanyl and other narcotics. Now, I thought this was an interesting one, and I'm gonna tell you why. To address existing operational needs is almost a direct slap in the face. And I'm gonna tell you why it's almost a direct slap in the face. Because the fact that they're sitting to expand capabilities at our nation's borders, your capabilities were to build the wall and keep people out, not leave it open or sneak them through the crevices and cracks in between the places that the border is actually open. All right. That also includes the simple fact that that does not give you the right to fund them the way you have funded them. And I say you to the people above, and sit here and actually tell us on operational needs you're giving them $20 billion. We already know that they're getting, officially, it's 9K in certain cities. I had it high as 15K a couple of months ago. Some places reporting 7, but we do know definitively it was 9,000, including assistance with welfare, also rent, housing, and they're sleeping in schools. They've actually put kids out of schools in homeschool programs just so they could house the migrants. And we're sitting here looking at a whopping 20.23 billion to address existing operational needs and expand capabilities at our nation's border. Resource the new border policies, including in the package, to help stop the flow of fentanyl and narcotics. If that is yet again that last statement, to stop the flow of fentanyl and narcotics, the war on drugs has been raging since the 80s, and the only thing that's come from that is mass incarceration, post traumatic stress disorder, and an ever looming drug problem in America. They have actually not won the war on drugs. The war on drugs was a joke. And for some apparent reason, they still can't stop it, even though we know the Sinaloa cartel and a couple others are all part of this whole shit show that we're talking about. Excuse my language. All right. And the last one, not the last one, second to last, fentanyl eradication and narcotics deterrence, fentanyl act. So it's called Fend-Off Fentanyl Act, right? 400 million for the nonprofit security grant program to help nonprofits in place in and places of worship make security enhancements. Excuse me. And this is what they just spent $118.28 billion on right now, that I'm still trying to figure out where we're getting it from. Oh, riddle me that, people. It seems like they keep taking out bonds and insurance policies on all the people, and we're just sitting here like, yeah, red or blue. Somebody win election. Somebody come save us. Make us feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. I don't know what to tell you. All right. All right. Got a couple comments. We'll take a little break. We got Kristen up here. How you doing? Good, I'm good. I hope all is well. Hope you're tuned in, enjoying the news of the new spending budget that we apparently have just coughed up $118 billion in national security packages, supplemental packages at that. Not even the full package, is supplemental. Just making it pop out of thin air. Like when I do it, it's money laundering. When they do it, defending the nation. It's petty, but it's true. All right, Ronald Hobson says 2.3 and black folks can't get reparations. No, we can't. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I actually don't know if I want them from the government because I'm gonna be real. Anything that has their money tied to it or our money and Social Security tied to it typically has not done us any justice. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know that's a very unpopular comment to come out of, a black person's mouth as myself, but I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. If we've learned anything about these people, we would definitely stop taking their handouts. We would definitely stop doing the things that we did if we realize that everything they give somebody has conditions and terms and whole lot of hidden detail into it. That's just my opinion. After everything we've looked at in life about these people and whoever's in control, we can't say who it is because they like to shadow ban you for using their names. But what I'm saying is, here we are, beginning of the first quarter, 118 billion on top of mass layoffs. UPS let go 12,000. You're hearing 2,000 in some other companies. You're hearing about all the shops closing. You're hearing about all your favorite stores and restaurants just going under, right? Right. And I don't even have to mention the looming border issue. Okay. Now, with this looming border issue, there was another report. Let me see if I can stroll through it because I'm in my Telegram right now. Like I finally linked, my Telegram so I can kind of go stroll through this stuff. And I like to go through these little tabloids and go through those little movements with you guys. But let me tell you something. So they're saying, I think it was in New York, that they got like $53 million stashed away for migrants on credit cards. If the 9,000 wasn't a blow, 1,500 in food stamps, cell phones, beating up the cops. Officially, they have beat up cops now without any persecution, without any charges, and without any real consequences. You're gonna slate 53 million in credit cards for them so that they can continue to do the things that they do. Listen, guys, I would like to believe that what I just read was in the best interest of of the country as far as that bipartisan supplemental budget. That's not the vibes I'm getting from them right now. Let me know in the comments what you guys are feeling from all this new information. And this is just a little bit. This isn't what they're saying on the news right now. They're saying there's language, okay, meaning there's words and there's ideas about what they want to do, but we're not gonna put any detail out. We're gonna dangle it. Luckily for us, I'm on Telegram and information comes out a lot quicker. All right. Internationally too. All right. Now, where do we go from here? What more should we tell the masses who are sitting here and telling us that's not real? What do you Someone said that on my page today. It was like fake news, fake news, fake news. And I'm like, how's it fake news if it's in the news? And I understand that the news does lie, but they're not necessarily lying. The story is just really slanted as hell. But there's some truth in it. So I'm like, if you don't believe us and you don't believe the news, but clearly we're all pointing at a border situation that's kind of fabricated in itself because, you know, it's so much you can see in a small square. And certain parts of the border, while we're looking at all the truckers show up and show force, there's still people coming through the border. Don't be deceived. Like what you're watching on TV is fabricated, but there are people still coming through the border. Nothing has changed. They're getting Uber jobs and driving around America. Listen, they're gonna join the military. They are becoming cops. They they can get a driver's license handed to them or at least an identification handed to them right now. What more are we need to understand that they're just clearly we're not going into this war. They've already assumed the American people are not willing to go fight this, and they're going to use the 10 million migrants that are coming in. And if there are migrants watching this show right now, let me tell you now, you just walked into the meat grinder. Welcome to America. It is not what you think it is. It is everything that you have nightmares about, but on a good day. You have no idea what you stepped into. This place is different. Yeah, it seems great and it seems magical. And it seems like, oh, life is so yeah, compared to most countries, but our corruption is on another level here. Like this is the home of it. You guys have just walked into a chess game against families and people and citizens, and you're about to take on votes and an award that you didn't even really ask for. But if you take their money, oh, best believe you're involved. That's the only way it works. You put your hand out and they put that money in your hand. Come on down to Uncle Sam and join the military. And if you're wondering where this assistance is at, let me go back and look in here. All right, 20 billion to address the existing operational needs at the border. 20, 20 billion. How much of that you think is going to contractors and how much of that you think is going to prepaid cards? Let's not forget that they can buy firearms too without identification. They're trying to take the 2A from us, the Second Amendment from us. They're trying to take it, but they want to give them weapons. The $1,000,000 question that we're all asking is who are they for? Are they for us or are they for the quote unquote white hats? And if you believe that they're going to go disarm the secret cabal, if you want to believe that thing, I'm here to tell you this. I would not trust anything about our administration. If we've learned from all the lives and all the videos, we've learned one solid, definitive fact. I wouldn't trust them with a potato gun. And I'm being honest. I wouldn't trust them with anything, butter knife, a rubber band, slinky. I don't care. At this point, we are at a boiling point inside our own country and internationally, we're swapping out people because don't forget, we're in Operation Steadfast right now. And as soon as Operation Steadfast really went like completely green light, here we go. I've always told you they like to hide what they do behind exercises. They'll tell you it's an exercise because it sounds good to us. But in real applications, they are actually handling business and standing on business. Always remember Vladimir Putin told the world, I'm going on an exercise into Ukraine and commence to invade Ukraine. So I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, we're just on an exercise. People still lose their lives, okay? Those three soldiers, rest in peace. Because it at some point this conflict has to stop. At some point we have to stop launching $4 million missiles at each other. For this is where we're at. And it sounds scary and it sounds terrifying, sure. But I just read you their spending. And who's gonna pay the bill on this spending? We are. We're about to pay the bill on the spending. How we're about to do that, I have no earthly idea because we're already like $34 trillion in debt. So you can just tack on $118 billion on top of that, and we'll go from there now. All right. And this is still including China. And to anyone who really thinks China is such a problem, I would ask the question: if China was such a problem, then why were we selling land to them and allowing them in our institutes and openly doing business with them? Like, don't get me wrong, I understand trade and barter and all that stuff, but at some point, if they were really such that monster, then I highly doubt America would have been giving them that much free range and doing that much business with them, knowing, right? This is what they tell us on the news. This is what we're hearing, right? China's big and scary, right? Iran's big and scary, right? Hamas is big and scary, right? But when you look at the grand scheme of things, are they really that big and scary, or is America just kind of pushing that narrative? Because I'm gonna be honest, like if we want to talk tactics and just loose war tactics and movements, I'm gonna be real. NATO doesn't stand a chance. Name a country in the NATO union besides America with real war fighting experience. Imma repeat that. Name another country besides America with real war fighting experience. Locals and women and children do not count. There are countries that have never actually been in a real conflict in a while. They're not tested. What you're seeing right now is everyone trying to sharpen their teeth for the fight that's coming. But when I tell you now, most of the countries in NATO have not been in a real conflict in a while. Sure, yeah, there's special operations, but that doesn't count because no. This is why they're asking for people to get ready for a draft in Europe and UK because they haven't fought a conflict. They're having knifing issues in the UK. Their biggest concern is knifing issues. And you want me to believe that these people from Europe are gonna join NATO and go take their butts over there to the Middle East and put up a fight against groups that have been doing this for 20 years. That's just not how that works. Even with America funding them, that's just not how that works. I'm no specialist in any of this. This is just common sense. But looking at the sheer numbers, if Iran did go ahead and jump, Iran has more backup than America can really withstand, and they're going to start drafting those migrants real soon. Mark my words, because we've already subbed out the group out of what is it? Formerly Fort Hood, Cavazos. There we go. Excuse me. All right. Everyone's subbing out, right? They're subbing in the real people right now. All the people that you're watching, like UK subbed out a regiment, America has subbed out like 5 different regiments, warfighting regiments. Everyone in Europe is doing the same thing. Everyone's making the same call to get ready. NATO's telling the world, hey, you guys might want to have 36 hours of food ready or supplies ready. It's either a huge fear mongering campaign or they're actually going to go ahead and go through with it. Like they've all agreed to mutual combat. And I wouldn't really play with this because World War I and World War II are a thing. And last time we checked, World War I and World War II ain't exactly what the hell we thought it was. Neither was Vietnam, and neither was the Iraq War, and neither was Afghanistan. Excuse me. So if we're going on based on history, then we got to know then what we're getting ready to go up against ain't gonna be exactly what we thought it was, or for the reason was. Excuse me. Right. So what I'm saying right now is I've always said it: get yourself together, get your homes together, do what you got to do because they can false flag an event, sure, but they don't fake the destruction that comes behind it. They may lie to you as to why it's going on, but they're not gonna fake the carnage that follows behind it. That's something they don't like to fake. And right now, the UK ain't ready for this. France ain't ready for it. None of the countries over there, maybe Germany, sure, they've rebounded. Turkey is involved with this. Like Turkey jumping in changes the whole dynamic for the other side against America. Like, you gotta understand sheer numbers right now. Iran and Turkey together with North Korea and China and Russia, and China kinda playing both sides of the fence right now, because remember, all your goods are still coming from China. The computer that I'm sitting on, the mic that I'm talking on, the lights behind me, all come from over there. So it's still running. The system is still moving. This is why I say we're missing a huge piece of the puzzle right now just because I've said all that, and everything is still on right now. The lights are still on. Uh, America is stable, about as stable it could be right now. We know the conflict is real. We know Ukraine's being funded. We know UK is asking people to sign up. We know America's talking about drafting. So either they're trying to force it, or there's actually nothing happening at all, and they're just getting ready to dupe everybody, and that's just you know thinking in a rabbit hole. Now, oh, I knew I was missing something. I missed my comments. Hey, guys, sorry. I thought my comments weren't moving and I missed it. Let me catch up. Let me catch up. I want to get to you guys' comments. Sorry I missed your stuff. Uh David Lambert says our government has been lying to us for many years. F them. Not wrong. Christopher says 35, 53 years. I. All right. Chris, you be dropping gems, man. Sometimes they go over my head, man. Can you like drop a little bit more information on that one for me? You know, don't feel like you can't do that. ID means they can vote. That is true. Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I look. I don't like to toot my own horn, but the Cloud Pivot strategy is here. People didn't want to look into it. People don't believe it, but like I said, they've already tried it, right? Two hollow door Moors, successful history repeating on a 110-year record. Yeah, those 20-year increments and those and like that 40, like I seen that video where they show the timeline as to how they do this. So okay, you guys are absolutely right about a lot in here. Now, let me ask you guys something. Okay? Let me ask you guys something. Let's say let's say we get a new player in the game with Trump. Trump still needs a running mate. Okay. We don't know who it's gonna be. The Democratic Party's trying to, we know we've heard the whispers. I posted the video about Michael or Michelle running for potential office. Now, what I'm hearing, this is just some filth and some rumors that I found around in Telegram. Okay, don't quote me on it, but I'm hearing Newsom in California with Obama as vice president could be a thing. Okay. I know this is a little bit off putting to what I'm saying or initially about the budget, but this is going into everything that we've said about this budget in China and what we're discussing. Okay. Hear me out. Gavin Newsom is one of the most pandering politicians to China that we've ever seen. Okay. Has major clout with them. They love him. He cleaned up the city. Michelle Obama is essentially the voice of the actual Democratic Party right now. We just want to say the Obamas, my opinion, the Obamas are the mouthpiece and the movement towards the Democratic Party. This is just me looking at the chessboard, okay? Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama on the ticket 2024. They need two people to go up against one man without his VP. Now, who Trump selects matters. I know we talked about Kennedy, right? I'm kinda on the ropes about him now. You know, he's not answering the questions I want him the way I want him to answer them if he's supposed to be above the system. It seems like he's pandering, and that's just me. That's just my opinion, okay? I've gone through, I did say he was a straight shooter, and I have no problem with admitting that. I still think he is, but I still think to an extent he's running off the legacy of his uncle and his father. I think at this point he's controlled opposition, but I could be wrong. This is just my opinion, guys, okay? Now, even if Newsom and Obama run, they gotta beat Trump. Who, if you trust the election process, sure, that would put them over. Do I think Trump has a win in this? I think if voting matters and y'all and we all come out to vote. Now, you're gonna ask me if I'm gonna vote? Fuck no, I'm not playing in this game no more. I don't trust either side. But for the ones who want to continue to play this game, if you decide to vote, you got to understand both sides are vying for the same thing. Yeah, I saw that. The Rock running for president. I'm not going to entertain that shit. Not voting for that man. If you think Trump is going to win and save us, you should go look into the Bolsheviks in the Bolshevik conflict or the Bolshevik war with Russia and explain to me why that situation played the way out it did. Look into Operation Truth. I've talked about that. Okay. If for some inkling in your mind you believe in the Democratic Party, I I question everything, everything, everything about you. Like it's one like I can understand Republicans because they kind of hide it behind their loud mouths and their hard American patriotic BS that they run behind their stuff. But to just believe in Democrats at this point just says you're choosing your own you're choosing your own plight. Okay? I'm not gonna sit here and fuss and fight with you no more. If you believe that party is gonna get you somewhere, I don't know. They pander a whole lot. That's all they do is pander. They don't do anything. Excuse me, they don't do anything else. I got matches. I left my lighter somewhere. Uh, oh. Now, because we don't have a viable third party, which we could if someone we just decided to pencil someone in, that'd be grand too. Seeing as we don't, this is what we're stuck with. Yeah, your favorite live streamer is having a glass of whiskey and smoking a cigarette like it's 1963 in the news. Maybe I'm an old soul. Who knows? What I'm saying right now is we don't have a viable third party. All our political interests are basically bought out by corporations and third party nonprofits. We're at a cataclysmic World War III situation, and our borders look like the trap when you turn the lights on and the roaches come out. And I'm not calling those people roaches. I'm just saying they're coming in numbers. Like you've seen the videos, people. Okay, we've seen the videos. These people are running out from everywhere. They're leaving the gate open. There are vehicles dropping them off, and border patrol watching them come across and giving them rides. And then they're going to eat through Eagle Pass in whatever little photo op they want to go through and get the most assistance that they are ever giving. Let me tell you something. When I make this statement, I need y'all to comment in the comment section. Listen to what I'm going to say. If America had done for us like they had done for the migrants and everybody else, we as a people would pretty much put up with whatever they were doing. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because we're putting up with whatever they're doing for absolutely pennies on the dollar. Could you imagine if they were like, sure, we'll give you free education, food stamps, $9,000 a month in assistance, rent assistance, right? And food and clothing and all that. We're gonna basically give you an ID. We're gonna let you vote. We're gonna fast stream you to the military. We're gonna allow you to vote without an ID. Do you know what we would have done for this country? There would have been nothing that anyone could have told us about our government inside of America. We would we would kick door any country right now for America if they were taking care of us the way we took care of the migrants. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Just think about it. If they if they just we want to go find our jobs, if they gave us free education, a monthly check, cell phones, all of this stuff, bro, we would have bombarded any country in the world. You couldn't have told us nothing. But they don't do that. They could easily fix the homeless situation. They could fix the veteran situation. Look at all the numbers we just named. They just allocated $118 billion for this conflict, and you're telling me our veterans and our homeless can't get a meal and a decent place to like progress or at least get themselves together at without being taken advantage of? What is this? This is what I said. The American dream is an ideal, but the reality is your worst nightmare on a good day. We're getting real close to our worst nightmare on a bad day in this country. we're, we're right there. We're right there. And I continue to do these shows and talk to you guys because for the very fact that I think it's worth it. I think it's something that is needed. I think it's a safe place. I think we all should sit here and discuss these things. Couple comments. I got Mr. Paul Carter. How you doing? He says this was all planned. Seriously, we had better start paying attention. We are all being watered down and replaced. There is a replacement idea that did form with the cloud pivot strategy, Mr. Paul Carter. If you weren't on my show or on my page when I did that one, you should look into the cloud pivot strategy and let me know what that sounds like to you. Christopher says, pushing for a police state that we're already in. We are living in a police state right now. Congratulations, everyone. We're all on a list. Finally, just not the list we wanted to be on. Not the list with the 1%. It's the list with the rest of the 99% that's against the 1%. Even the ones who don't know they're on the list. That's the sad part. The people actually on the list don't know they're on the list. They think because they're Christians and Catholics and all these devout religions, they're not on the list. Guess newsflash, you're on that list too. If you have any cause or any belief, you are on this list. There's a reason why they're going after domestic Christians right now or Christian extremists, right? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. We're all on a list. We think we're not in a list together. We are together. We're all listed against the US government. We're all being watched. Diddly diddly. Sometimes you gotta laugh at it, guys. Kristen says, kind of like the stimulus just shut people up for a while. It did. Here's a little secret about the stimulus check that they didn't like to mention. Most of people's stimulus check went into home defense. That's why there was such a surge in gun sales. It went into other things too, like, TVs and cars and illegal whatever they could get their hands on. But to be entirely fair, most of that money went on defense. This is why, everyone's rethinking about running over here and trying to run up on us because there's a gun behind every blade of grass. It's America. We're violent. We like guns. We like freedom of speech. What are you going to do about it? Like, you got a choice. You can come over here and try it. And I'm not boasting for anything, but the notion is why come over here? Why try it? It's something that, has been discussed. It's not anything new. Sounds like Canada, says Keith Lambert. I haven't been to Canada. I've heard you guys have like a media blackout on, certain social media platforms. And I also hear that you guys have a knife problem too, and kind of a slight gun problem. But I hear you guys have like knife problems also. I've never been there. I assume that you guys are like the hyper shitty version of us. Like, you got all our crappy policies, but without the same constitutional amendments, which is just absolutely horrible. That's just, that's just me. All right. All right. Hey, Roger. He says he's late, man. You're just on time, bro. You can catch the early part, that you missed. But we did give up some big billion-dollar numbers in the new bipartisan supplemental security plan. It was some BS. I may recap over it, but you can catch it on the beginning. Christopher says you make me feel better. Please don't stop broadcasting. I appreciate it, guys. Look, man, I try, I'm getting more help. I'm getting more help with the platform. I'm working on it right now. So once we get that squared away, be getting back to those shows on a more routinely matter. All right. Alan, what's up, man? Says it's been a minute since you seen me live. Hey, man. We can blame Facebook for that. I get banned a lot. Kristen said, "For everyone who invested wisely, good for them." Very smart. I did too. I definitely did not play around. Like I took heed to the warning signs, the writing on the wall. I saw it. I saw it myself. All right, Keith Lambert says, "I have family in Canada, but I'm not from Canada. I am from Michigan." Hey, Michigan. Hey, I got a question about you guys in Michigan. You guys don't seem like you f around a lot. You guys are in. Isn't that the state where you guys tried to kidnap a governor? That was a thing for you guys. Don't think I forgot about that. You guys don't F around out there. I'm not making fun of you guys or making fun of the situation because that's a horrible situation for anyone to be in. But I feel like it came from Michigan, and yeah, you guys don't mess around. That's the nicest thing I could say. All right, but what I'm saying tonight is we're still in a place where we need to be very vigilant and aware. Now, when I say aware, this isn't just to target anyone. Like, don't target just migrants. Look at everybody. Anybody that you anywhere in your cities, because I hear the cities are hit the hardest right now. I don't live in a major city. So we have a little bit of inflow here, but it's not too bad out here in Alabama. Alabama has some of the strictest immigration laws, I believe, in the nation. And this is why we kind of ran all of our migrants out that were doing the hard jobs, like the labor jobs and the farming and stuff. Just gonna put that out there. Alabama has its ways. We all know that. But what I'm saying is everyone be aware because I hear Chicago, I'm hearing of New York. I know Texas is overran, and there are people in militias out there handling business or standing on business. I see groups like Liberty Goons. I see different people moving around saying that they're all on the scene. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't be so quick to run down there for a psyop. Remember, they made everyone come to Washington D.C. on January 6th, and then they were like, "Oh, something's happening." Don't be confused with Eagle Pass, Texas. Listen to the name, Eagle Pass, Texas. Like it's yeah, the trucker convoy. Yes, Eric. Don't be so surprised to think that's really a trucker convoy and that's something like to be a part of. That could still be very much so another January 6th. I'm just being honest. Be careful with the wash and rinse and repeat moves. They're doing it. It's all these most of the people that we need to be worried about are already here. They're already here. The incidents are still piling up in America. There's still train derailments. Nothing's changed. There's still water issues. You got you got random kidnappings. Ohio is, as if my understanding is still correct, Ohio is still on the let's say on the hot seat about the 1,000 kids that went missing. Let's not forget that the people from the Epstein list have not been prosecuted. No one's been sent to jail. No one actually cares anymore. They moved on to the war. Nothing is going on. It nothing has exactly changed. Like we're just being desensitized and desensitized into an event. Why does my cigarette keep going out? Because I'm talking too much. This is what I'm saying, man. Be careful of the known psyops, man. They're still coming through the border. It's not stopping anything. Texas is still busing them. And if anybody knows about Abbott, we've all seen Abbott. He recently spent some time in Israel last week, like a couple weeks ago. He went to the wall, he touched the wall, he did everything. He still you are being deceived. You are being deceived by Texas. Abbott, as much as Abbott is playing this game, Abbott has already gone over to Israel and pledged his allegiance to the conflict and their assistance. Ah, Keith, you're funny. So yeah, yeah. Chris is funny. I'm sorry. I had to put this up here. She said he practically made out with the wall. He did. He did. You guys got to see this stuff, man. It doesn't change. The symbolism is still there. He went over there. He spent like a week. He met with Bibi. He pledged his allegiance to Bibi. He took a picture with Bibi. And then he continued to donate something like $2 million to like an APEC in Texas. Like no one is exempt from any of this that I'm talking about. Like we're all watching it unfold. It's just it's hard to take in. If I had to assume why no one's catching it is because it's too much information and it's difficult and it's kind of stupid. But this is what we're dealing with. Don't believe Abbott is really for the people. If he was really for the people, he would have activated his old state Texas Rangers that he has privy to, and they would have handled this. He wouldn't have activated them last year. He'd have activated them in the beginning of the process and went ahead and start corralling them because Texas has that kind of legislation to back it up. It's Texas. If they separated right now, they're in the top 10 largest countries in the world. It's Texas, people. Texas, everything runs through Texas in America, for God's sakes. Nothing really changes it. It's still Texas. It's just not the Texas you think it is. It's not the Texas you think. Everyone in Texas is like, yeah, don't mess with Texas. And you guys are that as a fighting force, as citizens. But you are sitting here playing the weird game of Abbott is on our side. Abbott is not on your side. There's a guy in Texas on your side, but it ain't Abbott. It's another dude. I forget his name. I want to say a kind of a tall gentleman. Wears a blazer and a cowboy hat in meetings. I kind of like him. He doesn't really dress in the expensive suits, so I can tell he may not really be one of them, but he can still be very much so involved in all of it. But what I'm telling you now, what you think Texas is doing, standing up, those people are putting themselves in harm's way for whatever reason because they believe in their state, not knowing that their damn state government is complicit in the act itself. So is Arizona. We know Cali is complicit. We ain't even gonna get on that and waste time on California. That's just a That's a whole pony show I'm not even gonna get into. We'll leave them where they're at. Let's get into some comments, guys. Let's get into some quick comments. Roger says the dog and pony show distract the nation. They're all bought and paid for. I full heartedly, completely believe that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not. I'm not gonna act like I don't believe that. I completely believe that. You know how I know it's a pony show? Trump gets prosecuted in Georgia, right? And he goes through this whole motion for like the fraud and all that, I believe, or the reelection scandal in Georgia, right? So how is it Kemp and the DA prosecuting him get caught up in sleeping with each other? Come on. I told y'all Georgia's a battleground. I knew Georgia wasn't gonna hold up. Georgia's dirty too. All right. Now he's in New York, and the person that actually leaked his tax fraud information or his tax return is doing 5 years in prison. You got to throw that case out. You can't prosecute a person on a crime. And I'm not campaigning for this man, but this is how this is supposed to happen, right? Your whole entire defense is jaded. The dude committed an illegal act to get former President Trump indicted, but he's going to prison for 5 years. You got to throw the case out. It's a game. This man is gonna be back in time for the election. Y'all think I'm playing? Listen to this. He went to Georgia. Kemp and the prosecuting DA got caught in a scandal. He goes to New York for the fraud case. The dude that leaked his tax information got 5 years in prison. Come on. You guys, come on. We've seen this show. It's called House of Cards. It's called Scandal. It's called Designated Survivor. We've seen this. You're not gonna prosecute a sitting or standing president. It's just not possible. You're not gonna do it. Eric, you're correct. If you really look at it, all the cases are falling apart. Every last one of them. Now in Mar-a-Lago, they've said they there were 2 rooms they didn't investigate when they were looking for documents in Florida. So he has Florida that I'm sure he's gonna beat because DeSantis is a quivering little turd who went corporate. DeSantis is not gonna stand up against Trump. The Mar-a-Lago case is gonna fall apart because now you have inadequate investigation, and I'm quite sure that means the paperwork was done wrong. And if the paperwork and all that information is wrong, then what's usually the thing that they do? They end up throwing your case out because there's no case. The case is tainted. I'm not a legal representative, but the glove don't fit. You must have quit. Shit, it works. Oh. I'm just being obvious about this whole election fraud and tax fraud and the Mar-a-Lago files. Look, man, the same documents that they're looking for with Trump are the same documents they found in Biden's what is it? His home in Delaware. Then he had an office that he had documents sitting in. They all take documents. I don't know why this is such a big deal. It's like when you leave a job, you put all your stuff in your box and you leave. It's the same exact thing. They're just taking way more important documents. But we've seen this. Listen, this man is coming back. This man's gonna come back, and he's gonna come back with a vengeance. Now, how the world plays out after that, entirely on us and them to push that button. What I'm saying is, I'm not for Trump, I'm not for Biden, but I'm not stupid. None of these cases are holding up. None of them. Oh, oh, I see your comments. I got one more thing to talk about. All right, and we're gonna end the show on this one. It's kind of funny. It's a little political satire, right? But what I'm saying with Trump is he's not gonna go to prison. No sitting or standing president has gone to prison, and they've done far worse than what this man has done. You guys forget Reagan sold crack. That's proven. Prove me wrong. Nixon never saw a lick of time for Watergate. Prove me wrong. Bush Senior, self-explanatory. Don't even waste time on that one. Self-explanatory. Bush anything, self-explanatory. Cheney shot a deer with an orange vest and an orange hat that was about 6'4" and held a lot of policy with contractors overseas. And for some reason, you could shoot a deer in an orange vest and an orange hat holding a shotgun. I'm not even gonna get on the Clintons. We're not even gonna mention them either. I'm not even gonna waste time. Okay. So what I'm saying is I need y'all to understand that no sitting president is going anywhere. Like sitting or standing, they're not going to prison. If they go to prison, you would have to indict the rest of them. It'd be a RICO. You have to go back, and they're not going to do it because most of them are dead, and you're not going to arrest yourself. And I'm not going to waste time mentioning Obama. That's self-explanatory, also. Let's get to some comments. Let's get to some comments. You guys are chiming in. I appreciate you. All right. Hey, Miguel, haven't seen you in a while, man. What's up? Appreciate you chiming in. Kristen says worldwide alien threat, Reagan. Don't forget, Reagan is the reason we have dudes. All right, direct energy weapons. You got to thank Reagan for DARPA. You got to thank him because he believed in the Star Wars program and the lasers and the beams and the space force. Reagan. Yeah. Hey. Eric says Watergate was a setup to get rid of the most popular president for decades at that time. He wasn't a team player. Now, Eric, I'm not gonna argue with you because I think you're kind of right because I've been kind of reading into him recently. And only reason is I caught a conversation with him and someone else. I forget who he was talking to, but it was like a candid conversation. He was talking about essentially what the problem was inside of the government. And and it just so happened to be the same conversation we've been having about what's wrong with the government right now, right? So, just think about that. Christopher says, "Oh, I was a deer once." So, are you telling us something? Were you the gentleman who survived that orange vest encounter with Cheney for Blackwater? That's a no-no. We shouldn't be speaking on Blackwater like that. Those guys were badass though, but that was a horrible organization. All right. In between the reading of the comments, you guys feel free to send stars. Feel free to donate to the Daily Rabbit Hole. This goes to content. This goes to making great content and staying informed with you guys and putting all this time in. You guys feel free to send me stars again. Like I said, feel free. Feel free. All right. Keith says Epstein didn't kill himself. First of all, the man's not dead. He's not. Couple things about the prison the jail he was staying in. My understanding is that they never had an actual suicide. They had El Chapo there and he was secure. You've never had a suicide until Mr. Epstein showed up. And to be honest, I don't think he died. I think that basically they just opened the gate and let him out the back door because if you've ever seen that movie Lord of War, I know I'm kind of going on a rant, but if you've seen that movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage and Ethan Hawke at the end where he gets caught, he tells the dude, "Yo, someone's gonna come get me and let me out." That's exactly how that works because he's a necessary evil. And if he is, what we believe him to be, which is Mossad, if that's the case, then we know that man's not dead because he was honeypotting for Mossad. That's the only way this makes sense. Like, if you can hide $2 billion and get away with extorting people for millions and millions of dollars, that just means you're a part of the plan. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Now, only reason I use that analogy from Lord of War because that was a very powerful scene in that movie. That he gets caught finally by Ethan Hawke. Right, Ethan Hawke finally brings him in, sits him down, and Nicolas Cage goes on the rant to tell him someone's gonna walk in and award you and tell you thank you for all your fine service and the job that you've done apprehending this man. And then they're gonna tell you that they need me in custody of the government. And then they're gonna accommodate you and he's gonna walk smooth out of prison. Let me tell you, that happened. Jeffrey Epstein. He's a free man. And if you think Little St. James was just the only island, the Caribbean in a micro what is it, Micronesia, those little Polynesian islands are littered with them everywhere. Let me say it again. The Caribbean and the like Polynesian islands are littered with Little St. James. Everywhere. Everywhere. It's not just here. It's everywhere. If you go to like the Middle East, they have an island. If you go to like those little micro islands around in Europe, they're there too. When you're like some important person and you show up to a country, they present you with stupid shit like that. Why? Because honeypotting. Everyone does it. Shit ain't nothing new. It's called business. Everyone does it. And if you believe the whole incident with Mr. Lloyd Austin, you would know that he was doing business and got caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. But I ain't want to get touch into that tonight. Okay. Keith Lambert says, I saw that Epstein isn't dead going on around that there's been some things happening suggested. I found a video that I shared early last year that that gentleman was in Morocco. Like someone caught him. And I'm not saying it was him because they say there's at least four different yous walking around the world. Like someone looks like you. It could very much so be a lookalike. I'm just saying it was the perfect lookalike and perfect nose and perfect hair texture and seemed like he was kind of being a piece of shit when he was out there then too. So it looked like a duck, it quacked like a duck, take a shit like a duck, could be a Mossad agent. That's all I'm saying. Now, is he the last one that we're gonna hear? No, we're hearing about the rap game now because there are a lot of people who do this, and Hugh Hefner was another one, and Diddy is one of them. If you know who Mr. Sean Combs is, if you know you're from my generation and you were part of hip hop, you know who Sean Combs is. He's one of those people too. He's probably gonna go down as the Epstein of hip hop. Nonetheless, he probably still may not see prison time, but we know the celebrities can go to prison. It's not like they didn't know, Clive Davis was a piece of shit or, Russell Simmons, who's still hiding in Bali right now on his extradition country he's living in. And we're not going to mention Oprah and her spiritual faith healer who had a slave farm in Brazil of children and other filth and substance that I will not mention on any of these platforms that I'm speaking on to not get shadow banned. All right. But we do know that Oprah has been complicit. She's been best friends with Weinstein. I let the last name prove itself, and she's been fairly complicit in all of this. And she just miraculously so happens to have a school in Africa whose girls go missing every other so often. What I'm saying is that the people that we're all idolizing are the worst individuals possible. Now, as we kind of wind this show down, I appreciate you guys staying consistent with me. This was a really good show. I'm gonna poke fun at the what is it? The political aides shooting an OnlyFans session in Capitol Hill. It's good for the goose, man. You know the rest. And if the politicians are out here shooting porn like there's nothing wrong, then maybe you should stop like telling us what to do. Stop telling us how to live our lives and what to do when you're doing the same exact filthy things and you're doing the filthy things for political gain. Like you're locking up everyone else for the same sad sick stuff that they're doing. And it's weird to me because they put themselves on a very high pedestal only to get kicked off. And they are getting kicked off in this apocalypse because it is the lifting of the veil. And this is a lot of information that's coming out. And a lot of times I poke fun at it like I do the Stephen Hawkins videos where, I make fun of him being on the island and his midget infatuation. All right. So for me, the lifting of the veil came a long time ago. My apocalypse happened a long time ago and that veil was lifted. Right now in 2024, we're in the age of Aquarius. If you guys believe in the zodiac and astrology and, and numerology and gematria, and I know a lot of you guys do, I'm still learning a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of useful stuff to it. But what I'm telling you now, man, is that none of this is new. It's just that the veil is falling apart and we're all caught watching it. Ooh, excuse me. Excuse me. So what I'm saying is don't get weirded out by this. Just prepare yourself. Understand that we're only in February. We just got out of January. We still got a whole more 10 months to go. We're only in month number 2. And it's a complete shit pony cow tipping show of just dumb shit. I'm not even. I'm gonna let the words fly at the end. Just dumb shit. A whole bunch of terrible bills being signed. A whole lot of spending. A whole lot of distractions. If you're watching the Super Bowl for entertainment purposes, I won't judge you. But it's Super Bowl 58. 5 plus 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. The 49ers are playing. 4 plus 9 is 13. And if we believe in the slot machine, 13, Brock Purdy number is 13. Now, if you believe in the Travis and Kelsey, Taylor and Travis, TNT, Chiefs may win the Super Bowl because they need a new face, and they're gonna make the Chiefs the face of the organization. Travis Kelsey may propose to Taylor Swift at the end of the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes will be solidified as the second greatest quarterback in modern times to Tom Brady and his witch of a wife, Giselle, that he married. No comment. Christopher says, 58 Society of Jesus. I know there's something to it. I just 5 plus 8, 13. 4 plus 9, 13. Brock Purdy's number is 13, which he was the last pick in the draft, like Tom Brady, came from Iowa State, and he's gonna go on to maybe be the next, Tom Brady. It's not to say that you can't have a Ben Roethlisberger. I would say, Patrick Mahomes is more Ben Roethlisberger than he is Tom Brady. But Brock Purdy in San Francisco, story program, 4 plus 9 equals 13. California, Gold Rush, symbolisms everywhere, guys. The one and only, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? He says, ain't watching that shit show. The clown is not impressed, people. He says, be more original. All right. And Roger says, just like Rashad Jamal, they locked him up, some BS because he was talking too much. Did you hear about that young lady who disappeared in his camp or his cult from St. Louis? You hearing about that? I don't know Rashad Jamal. I don't know Pharaoh, young Pharaoh. I don't know these guys. I watched them too. I came up watching them also. What I think with that is that I think Pharaoh got compromised, and I think Rashad Jamal, I think he may have got compromised too by opening his mouth. But worst case scenario, something I've learned about all these podcasters, a lot of them pander to get to that moment too. A lot of them do know what they're getting into. A lot of them are pandering to get to that level, and they'll say and do anything to get there because one thing I've understood about human greed and absolute power, them shits tend to go hand in hand. And there's nothing against Rashad Jamal because he was dropping gems just like Pharaoh was dropping gems. Like I listen to a lot of people. I don't knock any of these young brothers, but I'm not naive either. Like I like Cat Williams, but don't you find it weird that he only talked about the has-beens and not the people actually gatekeeping? Like I loved his commentary, but don't get me wrong. Did anyone find it weird that he didn't mention anyone at the top that's doing anything of real relevance that we care about? If he know all of this and he know their secrets, I understand real G's move in silence like lasagna, like Wayne say, but I'm gonna be real with you. At some point, we already know the low hanging fruit. Don't nobody give a shit about the low hanging fruit. We want the problem. We want the problem. It's not enough anymore to sit here and talk about the low hanging fruit. We know about the low hanging fruit. The low hanging fruit does all the symbolism in the pictures that we all keep talking about. Nothing has changed with them. I don't want the low hanging fruit. I want the fruit that we got to climb for. Because something up there is holding all the good fruit. Like Keith said, we want the source because clearly there's a source. If you don't believe there's a source, explain to me how Israel and Ukraine could be the same exact people. And I didn't mince any words with that one. If you understand what I'm saying, Ukraine and Israel are the same exact thing. So is China. Listen to what I'm saying. Israel and Ukraine are the exact same thing. The names of the people are different, but the origins of the people from both of those lands or occupying those lands are the same exact origins. If you don't believe me, that's fine. I'm not here to make you believe anything that I'm saying. We're having candid conversation. Okay. We're just talking. That's all. But what I'm telling you is This Israel and Ukraine are the same exact monster. In history, they are the same exact people. While the people who are occupying the land of Israel are not exactly from that land, they do come from Ukraine. Take it how you want to. Their natural enemies were Russia and the Middle East. Take it how you want to. I won't have to say names. I don't have to point a finger anymore because there's no point to point the finger because we all know who we can't talk about. And the saying goes, you want to know who's in control, find out who you can't talk about. And we already know who we can't talk about. So I'm gonna leave that at that. And always remember, China was a natural enemy of these people too, but at some point they became best friends. You can ask Genghis Khan about that one. You want to go look around in history. So what I'm saying to you is the same the same fruit that we're all reaching for ain't the fruit that we want. That's the low hanging shit. That's the stuff that's touching the ground. We want the ones at the top. And like Keith said, I have to give him real strategic credit for putting it that way, but we want the source. We don't want your puppets. We don't want the clowns, except for the one and only. He's on our side. We don't want, the low-hanging fruit. We want the ones that we can't reach, the ones that are hiding from us, the ones that are in their castles, in their big pretty homes, surrounded by fence and barbed wire, scared of the people. If you were such a loving and benevolent person, you wouldn't be so terrified of the people. And if you weren't doing such atrocities around the world, you wouldn't have to hide your face and change your name every so 100 years. So I'll leave you with that little bit of information. Before I go, I appreciate you guys. Feel free to donate to my Cash App, TDRH23. Feel free to drop me stars. Also, subscriptions is back up and running. I'm a little bit more active on it. Just trying to work on that and get some more help with the whole entire rabbit hole. So, big things coming. I appreciate you guys. But you guys have a great night. Stay vigilant. This